Welcome back, everybody. Falcons fans, listen really closely to me here. I know you guys have a lot of opinions about Kevin Stefanski, but let's pump the brakes on all of the opinions until he actually gets on the football field and shows us what he's going to do, right? He's officially introduced as the Falcons head coach on Tuesday. You guys are very split when it comes to this hiring. I'm talking to the fans directly. I know there's not a lot he can say right now, Joe, that will actually justify whether or not you think he should have been hired or not, but what can he say to win back some of the trust of these fans on Tuesday?
I mean, I think the only thing he can really talk about in this press conference is what his vision is for this organization, for this football team, and how he can get them moving in the right direction, the winning direction. You know, that's what Matt Ryan said in his press conference when he was introduced as the president of football, which is no agenda, just win. That's all we're trying to do here. And I think that that's all Kevin Stefanski can do. You know, I don't think that there's much he can do to defend himself, like in a press conference against some of these like allegations, I guess you could call them, that have kind of been thrown around on the internet. People won't believe him. You know, it's kind of a conspiratorial mindset from some of these people, and there's nothing that he can say to kind of, kind of put himself in the right light in their eyes, other than just kind of saying that this is going to be a winning franchise under me, and then prove it after that.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you're really deciding your future on what you put on the board, meaning wins and losses. That's the only thing that matters to people in the NFL or in football in general. But he's starting to put his staff in place, and this is huge, right? He's got his coordinators in place, so we'll talk about them. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, Grant, Tommy Rees coming to Atlanta from Cleveland, spent the last 2 seasons on Stefanski's staff, of course. He's very young, and he's got some experience, but not a ton as a play caller in the NFL. What do you think about this hire?
Yeah, this one, I think, is one of those that you're also going to have to file under exactly what we just talked about, which is we can certainly spit a lot of words on it, but actions are ultimately going to speak and bear out whether or not this was a good hire. You're right. He does not have a ton of experience. I believe that Stefanski handed him the play calling duties with 8 games to go last season. He's 33 years old. I mean, he's got a pedigree. He knows the game, but this feels like a little bit of a speculative hire, but maybe this is just one of the cases where being familiar with Kevin Stefanski, they do share that same vision. You're going to need that continuity, because I think that's the thing to kind of go back to what Stefanski can say. Not a whole lot of anything. It's what he does that people are ultimately going to want to see, and ultimately what he's going to be measured by. The same thing will be true for Tommy Rees. His offense last year had some highs, but also some lows. That sounds awfully a lot like the Atlanta Falcons a year ago, but they need that consistency, and that's going to start with who in the world's under center. And Stefanski and Rees have both been trying to answer that question dating back to their time in Cleveland, and perhaps in a more crazy manner than we could have ever imagined down here in Atlanta, and in a way I don't ever want to imagine down here, to be honest with you.
Great. It's funny, if someone's telling me that they don't like turbulence and they don't like roller coasters, don't be a fan of this team, please, because you need to buckle up and fasten your seatbelt a little tighter. I think it's going to get a little crazier as we go into the season and the offseason for sure. One of the smartest things he could have done, according to the fan base, is retaining Jeff Ulbrich as his defensive coordinator. Joe, why was this an important move for Stefanski to make?
I think it was important. I think, frankly, that Matt Ryan felt like it was really important for Jeff Ulbrich to stay based on what he saw, the way that he was able to lead this young defensive group last year. And, Jeff Ulbrich is a guy who's built really great relationships with so many of these young players. I think they started to believe in him and trust in him. And then you have that great relationship as like a mentor and a coach and somebody who clearly has put these guys in a really good tactical position to, put them in position to succeed. Like we were talking about with Mike McDonald, this team, breaks out and finally is able to rush the passer last year under Jeff Ulbrich with these guys. So I think it was more, Arthur Blank said in his end of season press conference, he was going to strongly recommend that they keep Jeff Ulbrich. I kind of feel like it was more of you need to keep Jeff Ulbrich or we're going to move on.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was a little bit of a nudge under the table, if you will, when they were interviewing these candidates. I think it's so important that Jeff is still here, especially when you have such young pieces on your defense who you want to be with this organization for a very long time. But you also have someone that you got to figure out, the general manager. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit surprised they haven't named one, because I would have thought they would have introduced them in tandem on Tuesday, but still could happen. 6 candidates have been interviewed, Grant, and probably one will be named shortly. What do you feel like is a very important attribute that this general manager has to have?
I think ultimately you're looking for somebody who can come in and confidently make moves and have that vision, because I think that the Falcons in a lot of ways, and this wasn't overnight, but they did wake up and realize that they're a team that's struggling to find its identity and struggling to have, I think, the leadership in place to share that vision that they need to in order to get to do the things they want to do and to get the places they want to get, which, by the way, is winning seasons, back to the playoffs, and competing for a Super Bowl. That's the ultimate goal here. There's just everybody's going to have a united front. So putting Matt Ryan in place, getting the head coach in place, whether he comes before or after the GM, I don't think really matters altogether that much. As long as you get the right guy, everybody sits at the table and they're able to collaborate and really come up with the decision-making process that makes the Atlanta Falcons better. That's what Falcons fans are looking for. They're not necessarily looking for change. They're looking for improvement, and they've been on the lookout for that for a while.
No, you're right. Matt said that he wanted his general manager and head coach to have some synergy and some similar mindsets, but didn't need to be best friends. So that is his prerequisite for those positions. I saved this one for you, Joe, because I want you to talk about Arthur Smith, our former head coach here in Atlanta. He is gone from the NFL. He's going to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. What do you think about this for old Artie?
I texted Arthur Smith when I heard the news, and I sent him a picture of that football that's behind me right there. That's signed by a national championship team, the 2002 Ohio State national championship team. I said, you need to bring one of these back, for yourself to Columbus. I'm really excited for him, obviously, as an Ohio State fan. It's just like, I don't want to get mad at Arthur Smith now. I will actually get mad at Ohio State's offensive coordinator if he's calling bad plays. That's the way it's going to be.
I know. It's funny because for those of you that don't know, Joe is a very big Ohio State guy, and he's got a good relationship with Arthur Smith. We're excited for him to see what he can do in college. A nice change of pace for Arthur Smith. Grant, I am going to squeeze this one in because you're the Georgia connection here. Carson Beck played in a national championship game on Monday, if you can believe it. He had an opportunity to get Miami to get the go-ahead score and the touchdown. Instead, he threw an interception. A lot of Dogs fans had some opinions about that in his career. What's yours?
It's a complicated legacy, I guess, is how I would term it. And maybe that's being polite, but he was a member of the two national championship teams. I still look at the Georgia being left out of that first year that Carson Beck was under center with their first loss in 3 years, but it was a smaller playoff at that point. So they got squeezed out. That'll be a what if season for me. The next year, that kind of started to give us a little bit of the indication of Carson Beck perhaps being a bit more erratic, and that, unfortunately, was how his college career ended. But I would say he did pretty well for himself in the bank account line, and we'll see what he does when it comes to the NFL draft prospects that he has down the line, because some team may be interested in a guy that was able to find some wins in a couple of different organizations, and high-level organizations at that.
Not the bank account line. And congratulations to Indiana. What a tremendous story.